Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. And once again, welcome back and welcome to in the another episode of Unknown to Known with another wonderful, deep diving, critical topic with one of the guests, Atindra here. Hi, Atindra. Good morning and welcome in podcast.
Hey, good morning, Atul, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. So, Atindra, before we go and discuss or open the session formally, I'll go as per the tradition that will take 10-20 second pause. Okay. And we'll pray to God to give us the word, power, strength, knowledge, so that what we want to communicate to the community, to the viewers, to the friends, it will go in the same direction only. And then finally, I'll open the session with you formally. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Atindra, so let's start the discussion now. How are you feeling? It is your first time you're coming as a live podcast, or you already done a lot?
No, this is the first time I'm doing live. I've previously done walkthroughs and demos uh, for other customers or different
Mm,
events, but live was not done.
okay,
It was always something I recorded and then shared or prepared, edited 50 times before I
okay,
shared it. So, yeah, this is a new experience.
okay, definitely. So I'll put one more question and might be repeat this question again. So how are the feeling now? Are you nervous, excited, little bit? How it will go, or what are the feelings now?
Yeah, I'm very excited because when you're live, I think you have a real opportunity to ask difficult questions. So
Yes,
I always like to be challenged about these things. And honestly, I might not have all the answers, but I can always come back or I can share my email where anyone can reach out for questions that I can respond to later as well.
definitely yes.
Yeah.
So nothing to be worried, Atindra, here that our audience, our guest, our audience, our viewers, our friends are there to be support you. If you stuck, they will be definitely happy here to help you as well. Okay. Okay. So before we go further, would like to be know that who is Atindra Chakravarti and what role you're doing in ServiceNow at point of time. Then we'll pick a few questions there. And I'm more interested to be know your qualification background because sometimes what happened that and I saw in my podcast as well that guests are coming from like mechanical, electronic background and they're in the service ecosystem. So how this journey converted, that's important to be understand here.
I love that question, Atula, and you have already hit the nail with the hammer on the head because, yeah, my background is yes, my education and engineering is in literally electronics and
Ah,
instrumentation engineering. Yeah,
okay.
and uh, but yeah, of course, from an early age, I think we are so exposed to computers and IT that you always have a knack for programming, writing script and coding. So I was exposed to that even before going to college, and all
Okay.
my education was in Calcutta, India, where I did my electronics engineering. But yeah, of course, during placements and job searches, the IT jobs come first to you. So I initially started working with Cognizant as
Okay.
a quality assurance engineer, and
Wow.
yeah, and this was a pretty long time ago. I mean, at least 10 years ago, and between and I was always a quality assurance engineer, sorry, a consultant there, worked with customers across US and UK. And after a couple of years I switched to ServiceNow's IT team in Hyderabad, India.
Okay.
And that was when my exposure to ServiceNow as a platform, as in PaaS, or a platform as a software, started coming in. So there is where I did some projects as a QA engineer initially, but I realized that this is something I can also start developing and write the scripts for or do the configuration for. And that shows how beautiful that platform is, that even
True.
someone who was a QA engineer, right? I had no experience of development in a real project. So with ServiceNow, that was possible because you could always use a low code configuration and configure something, make something happen. Um, that was exciting. And through ServiceNow, I then became a senior software engineer, worked for IT for a bit, worked with product team for a bit, and then changed my role to consultant again, to work on projects with customers really.
Okay.
And yeah.
So
And
how this engineer or this electric mechanical guy
yeah.
become a QA one? Because definitely
Yeah.
touching the circuits, touching the kind of a BIOS or diodes come something is coming to, okay, let's do some testing. And how was that journey? Is someone say, hey, come and join QA team, or you say, no, 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 I had to start earning, so let me go in that direction.
Yeah, to be fair, it was a bit of both. like I won't say I had a great freedom of choice, uh, but I also knew that I will end up somewhere in the software industry. Even when I
Okay.
was studying electronics, I will say my heart was not there.
Mm,
Because I know I'm not good with, let's say, making a chip or a motherboard kind of circuit. I'm great at writing the code that works behind it.
nice,
Uh,
nice.
so that was my motivation
Okay,
about
so
this.
so when you say that you were good at writing a code, so did someone say, Atindra, learn this coding skills, or how you get in your inheritance? I can say, this someone in your family is like doing the IT industry or something like that. So how that come into you?
Yeah, no, actually, that's thank you for asking. No one has asked me this before. And it is great that none of my parents or cousins or colleagues, or I mean, sorry, not colleagues,
Friend said
classmates,
something. Hmm.
yeah, friends, were really into programming. I was almost like this kid who would sit in my room with my desktop computer, right? And sometimes on afternoons when I was free, didn't have homework, I would almost open my computer from end to end, literally, like open the CPU, bring out the RAM chips, bring out the motherboard, label everything, and then put it back together and ensure it worked. Like
Okay,
yeah, and sometimes it didn't work. Okay, so that's when my mom would yeah,
school.
yeah, scold me for weeks. I would not get any allowance or pocket money for 1 month or something like that.
Mm,
But yeah, uh, that exploration, that okay, I can take it apart and put it back together, sometimes it worked, right? So it
true.
gave me that confidence with computers and software. And I took it as a personal challenge really to start learning how to code, how to manipulate computers or systems like that.
I think I want to be add one example here. My elder kid, who is like 10 or 11 years old now, he
Yeah.
opened the cubic completely, and now he's assembling it again. I said, come on, cubic, yes, it will be done. Just at the bottom it's like a circle, and I'm assembling it, and he done almost 60% done. So I said it will be
Nice.
done definitely. Okay, so now
Perfect.
next question coming to you, I think that being electrical engineer or kind of thing, coming the QA and going to the service now ecosystem. So
Yeah.
you were to service now, because I generally put this question: do you want to mention any mentor here, or do you want to take any name who guide you to build your first experience, that is a QA, and then who guided you to build your path into the service now? Because this is a time when we should, and I know that if many people are joining from India, so 2 days back there was a good Purnima. So generally we pay gratitude to our gurus who guide us to build the career. So do you want to
Yeah.
be highlight anybody name here?
100%. I think when I joined ServiceNow, I was still a quality engineer, right? And I had not really worked on projects, in fact, I would say, of this scale or this intensity. So I was interviewed by this person called Rathijit Sarkar. Uh, and he was also my team lead when I joined ServiceNow. So he literally taught me how the ServiceNow platform works end to end in terms of a platform. I'm not going saying the products like CSM or ITSM, but how the platform is designed. He
Hmm.
taught me that very well. And with that foundational understanding of how the ServiceNow platform works, learning a product like CSM, order, ITSM became very easy. So because it's ServiceNow is just built layers and layers on top of each other, right?
Correct.
So once you understand the foundation, you just build on top of it. I'll
Okay.
just take another moment to
Sure,
mention
sure, sure.
another name.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, please.
he was my first manager. His name was Prasenjit Sengupta, and he was also one of my first mentors when I joined ServiceNow. And I think I'll have to say he was almost inspirational in terms of how he taught me the things that, okay, there is this requirement or this use case, and he would do it in the most simplest ways. Like, okay, it's there. How can you do it without compromising on the user experience? But yeah, try to go for a low code, no code experience. So and this was even when I'm saying like 7 or 8 years ago. So back then we didn't have these beautiful features of
Concept. Exactly right.
flow designer and like beautiful decision tables that you good UI you can map. So still with such limitations, you would always find a way to do things in
Hmm.
a very usable, easy approach. And that I think that philosophy kind of seeped into me, which I still use when building something. So yeah,
And
these two people.
I think this is what the difference between platform and the product capabilities. That how
Yeah,
you can use the platform without anything writing much code is your mentor told, and how you can use the products is the one thing. Okay,
yeah,
so what is your current role in the ServiceNow ecosystem? Which specific module you're working? Because I know that, just to be updated to everybody who is watching this now, me and Atindra is working in a project together, and that triggered me because in the last session someone say, Atul, we want to be discuss CSDM and the CSM. I said that I have a
yeah.
guess already. So that one. So what is your current expertise in this module per level?
Yeah. So my current designation is senior technical consultant in ServiceNow, and I work with customers like I'm currently working with our common customer.
Hmm.
And in terms of specialization, my main bread and butter is CSM. But I have also worked on ITSM projects and have the certifications, have experience around it. So I would say both CSM and ITSM are things that I'm okay with. I feel comfortable around in terms of products.
Okay. So now let's come to the main core of this one. So
Yeah,
today we are going to be discuss about the CSM and the CSDM. Okay. In a one or two liner with a layman example, let's say if I want to tell to my 11-year-old kid that, okay, what is CSM according to Atindra? And I'll say, let's go to a mentor's philosophy as the simplest way.
yeah,
What your take on that part?
yeah. I think both from these acronyms that we have, CSDM and CSM, we just want to remember one alphabet, which is S. And S is
Correct.
nothing but service for both of these. So,
Correct.
and what that means is that this is the product with which you are serving whom you're serving the C aspect of it, which is the customer. And that is some a very, very important thing. A lot of customers, in fact, don't understand about ServiceNow. That CSM is the only module in the product or the platform, I should say, where a customer can voice their opinions or get service
True.
for what they have purchased. So that
Hmm.
is, a customer has anything they want for service, you can we'll talk about the different services can one
Definitely.
can ask for, but
Okay.
that is as simply put.
Okay. So might be something for my viewers now. If you go in the meantime, if you go any kind of a issue, if you're working on the CSM and working on the CSGM part, and you get some questions, please feel free to put into the chat and in the comment section. So Atendra, is this saying is correct that CSM is incomplete without CSGM? Because CSGM, if we say that CSGM came in the picture approximately like 3 to 4 years back, in
Yeah,
the broader level, that people start using it, understanding it, but before that there was no CSGM. So
yeah,
how the CSGM is changing the life of a CSM?
beautiful. And that is exactly what we will discuss today, Abdul, in great detail about
Sure.
this. And there is a chronology to it. So let me start moving the slides also.
Let
Uh,
me let me add that in the stream now.
okay,
Yeah, yeah, here. Go ahead, please.
yeah. I'll give a brief introduction before we go into the slides. But so you're 100% right. CSM, the CSDM part in CSM is very new, or
True.
is being leveraged. Not, I mean, let's say 10 years ago. It's like you said, probably 3 years or so around when it has been available to use to a great extent. But I will say that CSDM has always been a part of ServiceNow. It has been used extensively in ITSM, change management, incident management. But it has only been recently extended to CSM as well. And we
Mm.
will talk about why that is important, why this extension was needed, and what has it solved now that it is a part of CSM as well. Yeah. So with that, I will move to the next slide and try to explain it. So what was the problem really with CSM when it didn't have CSDM, or when CSDM was not extended into CSM? What was it that was hurting our customers or anyone? So without CSDM, basically we call it the island problem, which means that you just see a specific thing in an ocean. You don't get to see what that island is connected to. If there are any smaller islands underneath the water which it has connect or has any relation with, you don't get to see that. You just see maybe one spot of land in an ocean with one tree, and
Okay.
you see, okay, it is an exclusive thing. But if you think about it very deeply, that if you remove the water, or and because of global warming or something, you start seeing more of that island coming up, and you might see that, oh, it was not an island, it was a whole country underwater, and
Mm.
it was just hidden that way. So the problem was that, yes, there was no context the agents or service desk were receiving. All they saw was, okay, I have a case number or a ticket number, to be very generic. It has a status, description, timestamps, and I know what has been given to me only for this case. So what we are saying as disconnected interaction history. So
Okay.
they didn't, I mean, the case didn't clarify, okay, how is this problem, let's say, connected to a particular product, a particular version of the product, right? Or, I mean, an environment in this environment in which the product is being used. So all of this detail was not there. Again, we'll talk about infrastructure in a bit, but there was no visibility into, like, in a production environment, right? For a customer, there are many technical infrastructures. There could be ServiceNow platforms, other ServiceNow platforms they're using. There can be other, in I mean, uh, device I mean systems like Oracle, or for example SAP, which are common systems that are being used
Correct.
for across the industry. And how do these connections also play a role into this? This was not clear. So, and the third, I think this point is extremely important, where there was no relationship to other cases affecting the same service. So for
Mm.
example, if uh, I mean, multiple things can go wrong with a service. For example, now that we are talking via, uh, I mean, a studio link, for example, I mean, there can be many things that can prevent this connection from happening. For example, the internet can break, right? My browser can go wrong, or there's an issue with the browser. My mic can start creating noise around this. So multiple problems can cause issues with the same service of the two of us talking on this podcast.
Mm.
So that sort of analysis was never available. So on the surface, the agents would just see, okay, there is an issue with connecting to the podcast, but is it the internet? Is it the microphone? Or is it the browser which is causing a problem? I mean, the agent had to dig and find out what that is
Correct.
after testing. So that's the fourth point in this, which was not available. No early warning of widespread issues. And it can also happen that it could be both, right? I mean, the browser is not working and maybe the microphone is also not working. If it is interconnected, there was no visibility for the agents. So of course the customers who and their service desks were suffering because of this, because the representatives had to treat them as an isolated problem, and they
Correct.
couldn't predict that, okay, if I don't fix the microphone now, this problem with connecting to the podcast can happen again next week, for example. So
True.
they had to do everything on spot for that specific issue or that island problem.
So mainly, can we say by bringing the CSDM in the CSM, it is mainly doing the relationship work to understand that how the components are connecting
Yeah,
instead of saying that this is the component actually, because sometimes we assume that okay, I'm giving email service, that is what is my main. The main is that how that email is connected with the different components of the customer is important to be understand.
100% what you said, that yes, it connects it to the components. And there is another part to it, that every service is
Mm-hmm.
almost associated with another service. Like,
100%.
for example, like in this podcast example, right? I am also using a service right now which is being provided to me by my internet provider, right?
Correct.
So whether I am able to use, I mean, get on the podcast is dependent on the service I'm receiving from another vendor. So it's not just the components that are interconnected, but
Mm-hmm.
services are also often interconnected with one another. And
Got
there is
it.
a dependency which CSDM can put together and like interconnect. Yeah,
Okay, and then I think this is what the right part, because the era we are living now, no service can be delivered standalone. It is always connected to one another. You just take example of the internet. So I can say the platform you're using, Restream, is also one of the component of this service only.
yeah,
Good. Okay.
100%.
Thanks, Mahesh. And Mahesh put a kind of a comment for you, Atindra, that this analogy was a good example to be understand that part. Okay. Do you have something
Thank
more
you.
on the slides, or you are taking us to the demo kind of stuff that how
No, I
this
have a
work?
couple of more slides to go through,
Sure.
and then we will jump into the demo,
Sure.
just so that we understand the concept of it a bit more in detail. So, I want to explain what CSDM actually means, really.
Hmm.
I won't spend a lot of time talking about the concepts, I will show you, but just for a refresher, right? And sorry, I missed some text here, but I've just hidden the text. It will be there in the next slide. Don't
No
worry
worries.
about it. Okay. So yeah, we all know as a full form what CSDM means, right? It is Common Service Data Model, right? So again, the most important word here for our customers, what they want to hear is service. Is my service affected or not? So that is all this is supporting. Supporting how? Through the data model. And what kind of data model is it? It's a common data model. So
Hmm.
clearly, this is something that is present across ServiceNow and is used by different products or modules here, right? Today, we are specifically going to focus on CSM and how it connects with ITSM. There are other layers of it also, like now ServiceNow also has a CRM offering, which includes
Correct.
order management. So,
There,
it,
there's a
yeah,
question on that, but we'll pick up later on.
okay, sure. Uh, from the items that are there on the screen right now, I've not included anything from order management or CRM right now.
Fine.
But there are layers that we can add to this list of, let's say, install base business applications, which are called product offerings and sold product. These come
Correct.
into play when we are talking about sales and deals. That's when they come into play. And again, beyond ITSM, also there is another aspect of field service management. So that is another extension. It can go from ITSM where some other data models are included. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's focus on CSM, which includes ITSM as well, right? And I'll show you
Okay.
in a real practice how to do that. So let me explain this list very quickly. So these are some terms which might be familiar with already, and they are install. I'm starting from the bottom. Install base item is technically what a customer is selling. Okay, let's stick to that. What we sold. For example, if I am, for example, Apple. I am Tim Cook. I am selling iPhones. Okay, and so what we sold is sort of like an iPhone we have sold. I'll get to the specifics of that, but we'll talk
Hmm.
about it. The asset is exactly where and how is that iPhone being used. Deployed is not a good example here because it's something it's a physical product you can move. The components are the configuration items. When I say components, we all know what some of the components are in our
Right.
phone. For example, we can tell this phone has a battery, this
Better,
phone
right.
has a camera, this phone has some signaling chip.
Motherboard signals, chips, kind of things.
Exactly. So those are the configuration items within this asset, let's say. And what are the business services this phone is driving us or giving us? We'll talk about it. I mean, there are many services the phone gives us, right? Starting from calling, camera, picture taking, messaging, all of that, and actual applications running which are supporting these business services. So
Mm.
this is the concept around these layers, and we will get to the detail of this in a second. Okay, so this is one use case we are going to follow today, even during the demo. Just try to understand this before we go into the instance. That okay, imagine that Apple is of course a well-known company, and there is another company called Vodafone, both well known to us, right? And they have done a deal. So Vodafone has purchased, for example, 2,000 iPhone 15s for their employees. Okay,
Okay.
and we or us are a consultant now for Apple. We are implementing a CSM platform for them using ServiceNow so that these Vodafone employees can now come in and raise a case if they have any issue against their iPhone.
Mm.
Like, okay,
Okay.
my antenna is gone. They will raise a case with Apple to get that problem solved, for example. Yeah. So, how would we map the different things we just talked about? That what is an install base item, or how does it go up to the application? So, I'll just reiterate something. Install base item is again what we sold. So, for example, what Apple has sold is okay, iPhone 15 Pro Max, it has sold with this many specific. There are some specifications one should always remember in the
Right.
install base item. So 256 GB, there is Apple Care Plus included, and purchase date is something. Okay.
Okay. So sorry. So it means that we will create 2000 install base item records for each device, right?
Mm, no, Atul, that's
Oh,
the
okay.
interesting bit here. So technically, if we want to model this exact example, we just need to create one install base of iPhone 15 Pro Max with
Okay.
these specifications. Let's say Apple
Mm.
Care purchase. No, purchase date is not fine needed. Real, it could be manufacturing date or release date when it came out, but we need to create 2000 assets for
Okay.
it. So that's where the concept of a serial number comes in. That okay, I provide install base items, which is iPhone 15 Pro Max, but there are 2000 I need to supply. So each one will have a unique serial number for it. So that is where it is multiplied by the number it is needed.
And these assets will
Yeah.
be having a employee name that to whom this has been assigned.
Yeah. I mean, based on the if it is a part of the deal, it Apple can know it.
Okay.
Otherwise, they won't, right? So, for example,
Okay.
I've included the name here. Let's say to show that this is a specific hardware phone we are talking about. Like it
Hmm.
is maybe Atindra's phone, and it has serial number this. So it is the exact specific hardware device we are talking about here
Okay.
now. And then we go into the configuration items in the phone. We have already discussed this slightly that, yeah, there is a chip. For example, A17 Pro chip is there, which is healthy, fine. There's a camera inside it, and there is a battery at this point in this phone. Okay. So these are the configuration items which are making up the asset, what it is. And now, with this concept, let's understand what we mean when we talk about business services, right? For this example. So, what are the things, for example, I can do with this phone? I can create content. For example, I like to take pictures, I like to shoot videos, I can create content, right?
Hmm.
What other service is it providing to me? I can do communication, of course. I can do video calls, I can do phone calls, of course, do messages. So all of these services are provided to me by the phone. Of course, there are many other services.
Many
I've
others,
just
right.
included two. Okay. And let's talk about how these services are now supported by the applications in the phone, which are
Hmm.
nothing but the camera application, the iMessage application, or Instagram application. So I'll show you a mapping of how these applications are mapped to the different services and components in ServiceNow. But understanding them as a concept is really important. And once you see this, if you remember this as a snapshot example,
Got it.
you'll understand it cleanly, like how it's all going to be mapped now. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
uh, okay, and I've just included a slide about how they are interconnected, but this is what we are going to see in the demo now directly.
Okay.
So let's go into
Okay.
that.
Two questions here, Atindra. What is
Yeah.
the first question coming from Dilip? What is the relationship between CSM and the CRM? Even though you touched that part, but if you can little bit more understanding, that will be good.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So CSM service, again, what is the most important alphabet to remember in CSM is the S part of it. So S stands for service. Okay. And understand this as a concept that one gets a service only after a deal is made, right? That,
Correct.
okay, I have purchased this iPhone, I expect customer service for this. That is the point, right? If I did not purchase the iPhone, Apple would not give me customer support. They wouldn't.
Correct.
I mean, they wouldn't. If I had a different phone, for example, a Google phone or Android phone, and if I go to Apple and
They
say,
will not
"Hey,
support.
yeah, exactly," they won't give me any service for that phone. So it is based on a deal, or in other words, Apple received an order for an iPhone from me, and they fulfilled that order. Because, and since they have fulfilled that order, I now have the service for that order. Okay. And that new term I'm using now called order is what starts with CRM. That
Okay.
the journey in ServiceNow for such cases does not begin with the service expectation, but directly from the sale itself. That one is able to create an order for something, for any product. I mean, I can order, let's, so it is at this stage where the deal is happening between Vodafone and Apple, that Vodafone creates an order for these many iPhones with Apple, and they fulfill it. That is
Mhm.
where the real start of CRM is. What we are talking today is we are a level after that, where we, let's say the order has already happened, it's fine. Now we are talking about what kind of services Vodafone can get from Apple for that order. Yeah.
So it means CSM is kind of a post sales services we can, I know this is not right term to be used, but something similar on that part we can say, where the CRM is something that how you're going to put an order and how the order life cycle will work. That is CRM.
Um, partly.
Okay.
So CSM is not a part of the order cycle. So, for example, the order is complete. I have paid my money, or Vodafone has paid the money to Apple
Hmm.
for 2,000 iPhones. Deal is closed. Okay. Now Vodafone has a contract for let's say warranty period, right? 2 years or so. That is the beginning of the service between
Okay.
Vodafone and
And
Apple.
Apple.
That, yeah. So the order part is still the order is signed, order money is paid, order is closed. That's it, and
Hmm.
that begins the warranty period or the service period
Period of
from
this
that
sales.
case. Yeah,
Okay. One more question came from, I guess it's Rashmi only. Could you please let us know how we can use this module for software asset management? I'm not sure, Rashmi, are you referring to CSM or the CSDM? If you clarify that part, I'll ask Atin to be answer uh, after the demo then. Okay,
yeah,
Atin, let's go for the demo now. I'm interested
yeah,
to see that how this English words look like good in the platform.
yeah. Bear with me, Atul, while I
Sure,
log
no
in,
worries.
and folks, if you have any questions, please type that in. Meanwhile, I'll go to the
And
instance.
just to be add one more line to everybody who is watching now or with us on live and watching later, this session is not for any kind of a sales pitch. This is just a education purpose, and you can use this experience to build your kind of capability or your learnings path only. Okay, so don't assume that you're going to take any decision based on this podcast that let's purchase CSM or the CRM. We're not the right persons here, and we're not talking or pitching any sales here. Okay, so we're going in the instance now. It's a demo instance, right?
Yeah, this is my employee instance. It's
Mm.
absolutely the same as a PDI that
EDI,
is
okay.
available. And this is a new one, so you'll see everything is clean. There's good data for it, and let me show you. And again,
Sure.
to what Atul it just said, right? That this is not a sales pitch and something. Uh, it is important to note that the kind of way I have modeled the data here is not the only way of doing it. Okay.
True.
So I'll explain that again as we look at this, but there are other hierarchies, other structures also that you can configure as a part of it. And there is, of course, a cost dependency. So we'll talk about that briefly as well.
Yep.
Um, okay. So hoping this would work now. Terms of a login. Okay, beautiful.
Yep.
Let's do this. So this is a brand new instance. I have to mention something about this, that the only plugins that have been installed on this instance are customer service and
Hmm.
sorry, there are three plugins that have been installed on this: customer service, customer service with service management, which is the interconnection between ITSM and
ITSM and
CSM,
CSM. Okay.
and customer service with install base management. Okay, I'll explain why that is essentially needed. Okay, so what have I configured here? For example, CSM's most important place to start for things in terms of the data and the data model one has to prepare is, this is, for example, Apple's instance of CSM, and Vodafone will submit cases here for their 2000 iPhones here.
Hmm.
Most important thing to start with is, hey, I have signed a deal and I need my customers' information here. Okay. So there is an account here, which is Vodafone's account. So any case I raise, any details of the deal will be starting here. That, okay, Vodafone has this contract, Vodafone is entitled to some service, that sort of information. This is the starting point. Okay. So if we scroll down, we have a contact information. Let's say this is the person with whom we have interacted. This person can log into the instance and submit cases. Okay. As you see, there are some I don't want to go into install base item right away, but there are some entitlements covered here. What does entitlement mean very briefly? Say it is based on the contract again, that let's say Vodafone has purchased 2000 iPhones, right, from Apple. They are entitled to a customer service 24/7. So they can come in the middle of a night, log a case, and they expect that case will be acknowledged, assigned, and someone will work on it. Second kind of entitlement they have, or Vodafone has in this case, is hardware replacement. So every year they are eligible for their phones to be replaced or automatically renewed also as a part of this deal.
Hmm.
And these are what we call account level entitlements. Basically, what kind of services will Vodafone get for having made this deal with Apple? Just
So, so,
in, yeah,
so it means more entitlement can bring the more cost as well. So,
100%. Yeah.
something on that, right? Okay.
Yeah. So, for example, nowadays, very common thing is that when we sign up to a streaming platform like Prime Video or
Right.
uh, Z Plus or Disney Plus, whatever, they often give us like two costs, one with ads and one without ads, right?
Right.
And to be fair, how they design it in their business process is one has the entitlement, no ads, as
Correct.
simple as that.
As simple
And
as that.
that's why we pay for more for that no ads concept as well.
Yeah.
That and
I'll,
that
I'll,
is
I'll
how they design it.
I'll put a joke here. I read somewhere that companies are paying to YouTube kind of a platform to run the ads, and we as a customer are paying to the YouTube to not run the ads. And in the both
Sure.
sides, they are earning it
The company is making money both ways. Yeah,
both ways.
exactly.
Right. Okay. Cool then. Got
Yeah,
it.
that's actually a great business model. Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about how we saw our data, right? About the assets or the iPhones here. So we talked about install base item, right? This is what I mentioned, that okay, install base item is available and we just need to create one
One.
install base item. Okay. Uh, so this is one of them where it says like this. As you see, there is no serial number on this, okay,
Mm.
concept. There is no, I mean, and this is again somewhere I have to mention this, okay. So this is the availability of install base item table on ServiceNow is an additional plugin. Okay, it is an optional thing, I would say almost. Not all customers will have this install base item table or the access to this plugin. So how do they do it in that case? Do they is can they even function without this? The answer is yes, they can still do it. Okay, because the most primary thing a customer needs to track their hardware is not actually the install base item. It
Serial
is
number.
technically, yes, it is the serial number level, which is the asset actually. So here we have
Mm.
mapped an asset, and that is still fine. I mean, if I show you the case form real quick, uh, yeah, for example, I'm going to just open this form and say, show you that on the case format, you have both asset and install base item, for example. And the install base item field is only available after you install that specific plugin. Without that, you still have asset. You can continue with that asset that,
Mm.
okay, against Atindra's phone, there was a case related that my camera is not working. And that is still fine. So you might ask that, hey, so is install base item just a nice to have thing? Well, it depends on how your customer is designing the data or how they want to do it. Let me explain that again. For example, in this contract with Vodafone, there are some account level entitlements we saw, right? That, okay,
Hmm.
Vodafone will always receive 24/7 and
Correct.
hardware renewal. But entitlements and such specific things can also be mapped against a particular asset, for example, or a particular install base item, I'm sorry, which is here, for example, like hardware replacement 2x, right? This is only for iPhone 15 Pro, for example. Now, if Vodafone 2 days later says that, okay, we also want like normal phones, they don't have to be Pro Max, for example,
Mm.
they can buy another 2000 iPhone 15, no Pro Max, okay? And they want to pay less for it, right? So that will be another install base item which does not have maybe
This
this
entitlement.
entitlement. Yes, exactly. So install base item is not just the hardware, it is also about what related things you have to it, what kind of entitlement you have, any special contract you have that for that. So it is very important to know that difference. Okay, yeah, this is
Mm.
point one. Second point is the asset. So actually, let me go ahead and create a case for you so that we
Okay.
understand all of it.
Just one question came here. Mainly, it's a two one. One is from Dilip. Install base item is equal to sold products.
Not
Not
exactly.
not really, because sold product something different as well.
Yeah. So it is, it's, as you can see, it is a many to one relationship. Like it's a m to many relationship, possibly, right? So sold product again. This is, but I appreciate the question. Okay. So sold product is something about perspective. Now, to for Apple, if I am an Apple employee, for example, or Apple sales guy, I would say yes, iPhone 15 Pro with this kind of entitlement is our sold product to Vodafone. So yes, that is the product I have sold to Vodafone. Yes, 100%. But will Vodafone say that the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the sold product? No, that is, so it is from the perspective of the seller that we call it a sold product. From the perspective of the buyer, we call it an install base item. So it is like,
Mm.
I mean, service commitment and service entitlement. They are essentially the same thing, but based on which side of the coin you're looking from, it you use the right
So
word
so
for it.
it means same record, but will be see two different prospect in the two different places.
Exactly. So if Apple wants to maintain sold products as well,
Mm.
they need to
Then they
create some automation and do it. Yeah, exactly. But for the simplistic purposes, yeah, it can be done through install base item as well. Yeah.
okay.
And again, let me give another layer to this. Like I said, install base item is an optional table, right? So yeah, you can always like not use install base item. You can directly use sold product and go for it. That, okay, sold product is this iPhone 15 Pro. It is related to an asset, and then which has
Okay.
serial number. So both options are there. Okay.
Okay. One more clarification come here. Let me bring on the screen. Just want to know that only one install base item is created. Reason we have 2000 iPhone 15, and the follow up question came if there could be would be 1000 iPhone 15 and 1000 iPhone 16 that we need to get two install base item. 100%
Yeah,
correct. That is what my understanding says.
yeah, yeah, exactly that.
Okay.
So it depends on the product bundle. So yeah, we cannot have the same install base item for 15 and 16. They are different versions. They are different products in themselves.
Specification
So
is what?
yeah, so it will be different for that.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Okay. So we have talked about asset install base very clearly. I have to touch upon the CMDB aspect once before we go into our I mean, one end-to-end demo, let's say, for a case. So business service, right? And this might be familiar territory, right? We use business services for a lot of things in ITSM, change management, incident management. Everywhere there is business
Yes.
services.
And
Let me
nowadays
bring
we
that.
are doing the data foundation as well, so
Yeah,
people are very much familiar with these terms.
yeah. So again, we thought about this, that business services are also being designed for that hardware. For example, for our purposes, I've created two business services which we saw in our slides, that mobile
Hmm.
content creation and
And
executive communication, okay, which is like you're talking to someone, you're messaging, like that, okay. For example, now let me show you how the business applications are configured here. Okay, this is a long related list, uh, but they are associated with the other business applications they are being supported by. So for example, if I open executive communication and look at the CMDB 360 or oh my god, sorry, I have not installed the discovery
that
line plugin, but
discovery plugin, yes.
we can show you in uh, in the
Native view, yes.
relationships directly. Yeah, native view, exactly. Let me bring that up. Yeah, so in the relationships, let me. Oh, this thing has no relationships, really. Okay.
I guess you did not create any relationship, just two standalone business services there.
Yeah. Okay. Let me find a better one. Actually, business application, maybe application.
Yep. So I think in the meantime that Athinda is checking this particular part, before you start using CSGM, the fundamental of CSGM is important to be clarified. That is what is business service, what is business application, because the terms look similar, but there's a fundamental difference between these two. So that is important for everybody. And with the help of data foundation training, I'll not say the go for kind of certification as of now, but my intention to be say that the courses of CSGM is very much helpful for us to clarify these terms very clearly. Okay, over to you, Tinder, now.
Yeah, thanks, Atul. So, yeah, for example, I've just opened a business application, which is your most grassroots level. And what that means is this is a business application, which is, let's say, literally the camera application on this phone. Okay. So, and what is that? I've configured that as a configuration item. We saw, right, that this
Mm.
is an asset. The components of this, the hardware components of it, which is, let's say, next gen camera, beautiful with that sensitivity, great features. So that is the most granular hardware component in this phone uh, for this use case. That next gen camera is there. Now this configuration item is being consumed by what business services? It is being consumed by mobile content creation. So you start seeing the thing here. So anything goes wrong with my camera, this business service will get affected, right? And what else can get affected if I can't use my camera? My business application, which is literally Instagram, for example, is also something that will get
Get
affected.
impacted. Okay.
So here you're seeing a layer where a configuration item, which is nothing but my phone's camera, is affecting a business service, which is Apple's commitment to provide via their iPhone, being affected, and also the business application that Instagram won't work properly because the camera is not working, for example. So that
Mm.
is the kind of hierarchy we are trying to form
So,
here.
so in the second box, if you see consumed by consumed child business service, it means this camera will be used by the mobile content creation app.
No,
Mobile
mobile
content.
service. Yeah.
Okay, but the service and Instagram is also a service because I can see relationship of Instagram as well. And
Yeah. So
on
in yeah.
good.
So Instagram is configured as a business application. For example, you're
Okay.
right, Atul. It can be a business service as well, right? Because
Hmm.
Meta, who is the owner of Instagram, is providing that as a business service, right? That you can use Instagram, check reels, make posts, whatever. That
Okay.
is a service being provided. Here, from the perspective of Apple, they are not providing that service. They are, to them,
Okay.
Instagram is an app. It is just an app that
That's
can
not
get
only.
impacted. Yeah. That's
Okay.
why we have configured it as a business application instead of a service.
Service, right? So,
Yeah.
but if Apple says, okay, I'm giving to you, then it will become in the second section as well. That okay,
100,
this is what the service I'm.
100% that. Yeah. From
Hmm.
Apple's this whole instance is from Apple's perspective. That's why we are
Hmm.
designing it like that. Yeah.
And
So if we,
Apple is saying, I have an iPhone. In that, I have a camera. That is what is I'm giving as of now. No other thing I'm giving. If you want to install,
yeah,
install and use it.
exactly that. Yeah. So let's do another example, very small. For example, this is a business application, iMessage, right?
Hmm.
Our phone, I mean, it is basically Apple's way of sending SMS, right? What is this? How is this related to? Okay. This is consuming two core components here. And these are all downstream things. So iMessage is related to, first of all, the memory of it. That, okay, this has some storage, right? 256 gigs of memory. So the messages are being stored there. Second point, the retina display. For example, I cannot type a message or send a message without a display, right? For example. So
Correct.
that is how I'm seeing that, okay, the iMessage phone application is affected by these configuration items, which is the retina display
Hmm.
or the storage hardware I have in my phone. So this is how that interconnectivity of service starts to show between the different things. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
One question, Atindra.
yeah.
Definitely, we see this. Sorry, this complete data model. You showed us the relationship, but the question come when this discussion come in the picture. So,
Hmm.
because you already built up example, then the presentations, and bring it in the platform. But being a consultant, being a
Yeah.
developer, when this discussion come in the picture, hey, what is your business service, what is your application service, how this has been linked, is business give everything to me and say, okay, it's your responsibility as a service provider, or I as a consultant, I as a developer need to be sit with the business to understand that part.
This is a great question, and I'll answer that, Atul. The answer is closer to your second option. That as a consultant, you have to sit with business to understand how to structure this, right?
Hmm.
And this again varies from customer to customer. For example,
Correct.
like I said, this whole setup is from Apple's perspective, right? That they will provide content creation services, they will provide communication services through messages, phone, right? Just in case of this iPhone, had it been a different device, for example, it is a watch, right? It will have different services, like it will
Hmm.
show the time, it will
Timings.
show the date. So those are the business services of that watch. And the configuration items is a technical level. That's where one needs to sit with, let's say, their IT infrastructure team. Like, for example, in telling time, there are multiple gears inside the watch, how they are
Correct.
configured, how they are connected. So those are the configuration items, like gear 5 or gear 7, which are connected. Those
Right.
become the configuration
Okay,
items,
so
actually.
it means you're saying to understand this data model, there are two different teams a consultant need to be speak. One is the business,
Yeah.
who is selling the services. One is the IT who is telling you that how this has been built up and configured in the background.
Exactly, exactly. So anything you want to talk about, talk to business about, are business services and business applications.
Business
That is
application, right?
the level till which business can tell you about. Like,
Hmm.
they won't be able to tell you whether this phone has a 17 chip or a
Yep.
18 chip, that is something one has to talk to IT infrastructure team about this, and get
Mm.
that information. But business
Got
will
it.
see, when a company provides the service, right, they also have like transactions, billing to do for that. So for even for a service like warranty, that okay, I will cover any damage to this phone for 2 years, is a service Apple is providing, for example. And they have decided as a business to provide that. Some
Provide
people
that.
be like, okay, there is no warranty, you buy it, no exchange, no return, thank you. That is also
Mm.
possible, right? That means they're not providing any business service against it. So that depends on how they choose to do their business, really. That is not for a consultant to decide, but
Got it.
business teams to decide that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one more question came, might be quick for you to be answer this one. Atindra. Can you please speak a little bit about the roles in CSM?
Oh, okay, the roles. Sure. CSM is primarily again of two roles. Okay, there is always the one who is receiving the service and one giving the service. Okay, so in this case, Apple is the service provider, right? They are providing you
Mm.
warranty service. They are giving you the services
iPhones.
of, yeah, like mobile content creation, uh, all that. So that is the service provider. Or, and if we say, and this is again from perspective of Apple again, so who is Apple's customer here? It is Vodafone, who has purchased 2000 iPhones, right?
Mm.
And to be even more granular there, that there is a contact person from Vodafone. This is nothing but Apple's customer contact. That okay, this is the person who's going to come and raise cases on behalf of Vodafone, for example, right? The other side of thing is, other role is, who are Apple's employees. Now they will get a case from Vodafone and they will fulfill that case or resolve that case. So the service provider has fulfillers on their side who fulfill the service or the cases they are being raised against, and there is the customer who is raising it, as an expectation of their service. This was on a very high level. There are breakdowns of these roles as well, some elevated
Correct.
roles here and there, but let's not. That is for another day, guys. Yeah,
That's fine, Atindra. Yep.
yeah,
So are you going to be show one last demo to us and then?
yes,
Yep.
yeah. So let me show how it works, how this traceability
Okay.
beautiful setup
A,
works.
a question might be a question, you can take it, might be a feedback, you can take it, because I put the same question. We have a workspaces in service now, right? We have a service patient workspace, we have a risk assessment workspace, but
Yeah.
why this workspace is called as a CSM slash FSM configurable workspace? Why it's not only called the workspace? I
The-
put this question for one of other podcast as well, and that guest also laugh and say, good question, but don't know why. Because if you see service operation works is straightforward name. They don't using
yeah.
configurable. Even that is also configurable as well. So might be some other day we can discuss this part, Utender.
True, true. I will tell you from what I know, and
Hmm.
it has a lot to do with history. Okay,
Oh,
to be
okay.
fair, yeah, because when this initially, there was only one workspace called
Yep.
Agent Workspace, as simple
Correct.
as that, right? So they now all of that is deprecated. It's behind us. We don't use it.
Correct.
When And then at some point they introduced a flexible workspace out of which everything was derived, which was
Mm.
CSM and FSM configurable workspace. Why?
Oh.
And yes, it is configurable because you can copy it, configure pages on it, multiple things you can do it, you can make it your own. And just to give you context, every other workspace that exists now,
Hmm.
including service operations, knowledge
ITOM and everything. Yep.
center. Yeah, they are all now derived from CSM and FSM configurable workspace. So,
Oh.
yeah, but maybe they didn't change the name
Name
just
right.
to preserve it. But that's why everything now is configurable, because they are derived from this framework. Previously, they were not. They were a very static thing. Okay. Yeah.
Got it. Thanks.
So let me show you how, and this is me as an agent of Apple creating a case. The customer Vodafone can come in and create the case themselves also, no issues. So maybe imagine I'm on the phone with someone from Vodafone, and they are telling me what their issue is. So I'm choosing, okay, John Willis has contacted me and saying different things. I'm going to say that, okay, it is high priority. So I'm going to say camera app is crashing, and some screenshots, anything they are required, for example. I'll save this. Yeah. Oh, most importantly, let's say I don't know, right, what iPhone this person has so far. Something to note here is I can populate either install base item or asset. I have both options. And if I have the plugin of install base installed, right, I can choose this and proceed with this. Okay, there is nothing that is going to stop me, and this is still
Mm,
traceable. Or I can do this where I populate the asset, and at that point, install base item is no longer needed. Install base item is cleared out. It works the same way. But to know, install base item is the optional part. Asset is
optional,
what
right?
is primarily needed in ServiceNow. Okay. So
Mm,
let's save this and talk about how this is going to affect when we are going to the incident side. And you see the entitlement was directly provided, populated from the account that Vodafone needs 24/7 service meanwhile. Okay. So I'm going to create an incident because, hey, I see that, okay, I'm suspecting camera app is not working. There might be something wrong with the camera. I don't know. I'm guessing at this point. And a lot of customers build some automation around this, that, hey, they should be able to choose specific configuration items for certain issues, right? And there can be multiple things that are affected now. For
mm.
example, if the camera app is not working, let's, as an exercise, think about what are the things that can be affected. First of all,
I cannot take
without,
photos,
yeah,
videos. I
exactly.
cannot
So,
scan. I
yeah,
cannot use any app like Instagram to create reels or Snapchat, even WhatsApp as well. Video call is not possible.
exactly, right? So, not just apps, but also services can be impacted
Mm,
because of this,
right.
right? So, mobile content creation is nothing but a business service. And I'm mapping that as something that was impacted, right? Here. So, if I refresh this now, so you will see, okay, camera app is crashing, mobile content creation is affected. Next, what I can do is uh, there are things like what example, for example, what did we do? Instagram is not working, right? That would mean that, okay, that part is also affected. I will capture that as well.
So is that is the reason you are saying that when we're defining the data model, it is us to
Yeah,
be understand that how this component are connected with each other. Don't put the wrong type of
yeah.
service in the wrong domain.
100%. That is why these relationships that we built here, that, okay,
Mm,
this configuration item, retina display, is used by iMessage. That is the service or business application that it is affecting.
mm,
So it, and some, again, customers build automation around these relationships also, that based on this
got it.
relationship, they auto populate what are the impacted services, what are the impacted CIs. Very easily it can be done, because you
Okay.
already have that mapping. You just
Yeah.
generate the data directly.
A
So
question for you. Sorry, sorry, I cut in between. A question for you, Atindra. Let's a practical part. You said that you are specialization in the CSM, and definitely you are dealing and talking to the customers on these fronts day in day out. Okay, what is the minimum time length you experience till now in your projects, which says, okay, I need minimum 2 to 3 months to build at this basic data model, or it can be done in 1 week as well. What's the minimum timeline a consultant, a developer need to be think when they're planning these kind of a discussions?
for just particularly about the data model,
Mm-hmm.
uh, if you have the right people, you should not take more than a week. In fact, that is also having some buffer.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that, because you just need to understand their business and IT, and you have to sit and connect the two together. See,
Correct.
that is all there is. We know business services, mobile content creation. We need to know from IT, is there a camera app? What is the version of the camera? Yeah,
Mm.
is there any firmware, camera software is also there, right? That sort of information is also needed. And this data model or building this relationship is nothing but you connecting the two parts, and so that automation
Okay.
can be built around it.
Built up.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. One more question. Just might be one or two more questions here. That what are the minimum question or the relevant question a consultant, a developer need to be asked when they're setting up or sitting up with the business and the IT to define this model?
Okay, so I will tell you this answer from a very beginning of a project. Let's say this is
Mhm.
a new
Yes,
business. Yeah, currently, so any business will have some idea of earning money, right?
correct.
So they, like, what am I provide, what am I selling exactly? Some people are selling phones, some people are selling subscriptions, different kind of things are being sold across the world. So when you sit there, that is the first thing you need to sit with business and figure out, what are your value cases, or what are your revenue
Mm,
streams from which
okay,
you like, you're calling it a business. What business are you doing, boss? Just tell me that first.
okay,
So start from there, map that out, try to know what applications in the instance, or in that service or product you are selling, is affecting that business. Like, for example, if forget the iPhone for a second, okay, let's say I am HP, I am selling printers, okay, and I have sold printer. 2 days later, there is a issue with the printer. So I am, as HP, I have committed to the service that my printers will allow people to print pages. First one. Second point is, I am also selling color toners. I'm giving them Bluetooth as a part of the printer, so that they can connect
mm,
their phone and attach it to the printer, something like that. These are the business services I'm providing. So what are the applications now? Maybe the printer has a Bluetooth application, right, through which it is connecting. It has a
connect.
Wi-Fi application through which it
Got
is
it.
connecting. So that is how you need to model it, but it has to start from the services and their applications, and go down layers and layers into configuration
Okay.
items.
So it means don't assume, like if I said tomorrow I got a project of Vodafone, don't assume that I know Vodafone from the company. Go sit, talk that what they're doing in the background is important for us to be define this data model. Just not assumption that Vodafone is a kind of telecom company, they're selling SIM cards and something like this one only. Got it. Thanks.
100%. Yeah.
Thanks, Atindra. Yep. Just to be updated, Atindra, that we are already kind of over the time. So if we can try to sum up it now, will be good for us.
Yeah, I'll just wrap up. I mean, you know how an incident is resolved, where a
Right.
change comes in, right, for situations. Uh, I mean, at this point, still, you're not seeing business service and business application, because we are still at an IT level with the
Right.
incident. The business service and business applications start showing up the moment you go to change request. That is where you have
Mm,
to populate the business service and business application as well, because when you're deploying a change to an instance, you need to show, okay, this, it can impact mobile content creation. And I don't think the fields are here, but they can be added, as far as I know. I've seen it
yep.
in other situations where they are added to it. So let's wrap up. As a
Sure.
as an important fundamental thing, you should understand that this data model, what we just displayed today, is not the only data model, right? This is what you should remember, are the concepts about what they are signifying, right? And try to use that concept framework in mapping the data for your customer. Again, install base item is an optional layer based
Hmm.
on a plugin. Not all customers pay for
Play for
that
it.
plugin. So
Correct.
you can still do with asset and take it forward. I mean, you'll just have to create directly 2000 assets, right? It's
Correct.
fine that way. And to fill up the gap of install base item, I think someone correctly said, yes, you can use the sold product aspect
Products as
and
well.
relate it with it,
Okay.
and it moves forward.
One last question for you.
Yes, sir.
What are the mistakes Atendra did in the beginning of the career when started working CSM, when going for the discussions, by assuming by something else that okay, this question I should ask, but I did not ask this question. So what was learning on that part?
Yeah. Okay. I often I'm a technical consultant, and this is something I've learned over time, that I
Hmm.
always focused on just technical things, to
Okay.
be fair. Like, even in process discussion, business discussions, I would always argue for things like, okay, this is not possible. It is not, we cannot do this. Or tell me, how do you want technically to be done? Do you want a button? Do you want a drop down? Do you
Hmm.
want automation? That sort of thing. But as a technical consultant, I realized it is my job to suggest the how to do it to the customer.
Hmm.
The customer will tell me only what they want. It is my responsibility to give them the best experience. And of course, that depends also on the budget. If they want
True.
something tomorrow, you can't sit here and start thinking for like 8 hours and then be like, okay,
Correct.
let me make this. You have to be fast as well. So
Hmm.
you decide how you deliver the requirement to the customer based on the budget, but know what they are trying to get, what their end goal is through it. I
Clear.
didn't do that enough. Now I try to do it. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay. I think we don't have any other question in the comment section as well here. Let me check. No, nothing. Nothing is there. So I think as we started this session with a kind of a prayer to God, and now I'll take a 10-20 second pause to say thanks to the God, because from the last almost like 75 minutes to 90-80 minutes we are speaking and discussing the things. So let's say thanks, and then finally and formally I close the session as well with you. Okay. Okay. Same question to you, Atendra. How are you feeling now?
Oh, I'm feeling very good in terms of the fact that we explained the concepts correctly, and that as a consultant, I did not have the concept when I started. I had to like go through multiple projects to understand what these concepts are and how this to use this framework. I'm glad that a lot of you have come here a little more aware of CSDM, because there is not
Yeah.
enough data around it, not enough information. So, yeah, happy that everyone is a little more informed. Have some data
Yeah.
is not something to be scared of, it is something you can
Mm,
use very,
use it.
very well if you can.
And
So,
I think in today's era is data is the only key. If any company you pick up, they're all talking about the data and data only. Yeah, that's good.
yeah,
Okay, so I think we have no other questions here at the end. And once again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, sharing your knowledge on the CSGM and CSM altogether, sharing the model, the way we can use in the CSM in the service now as well. And to my viewers, possibly I'll not be bringing any podcast next week. I'll take a little break and we'll back on 15th or might be after that week. But another wonderful topic is in the pipeline now. I have a special guest again from the service now only, which will provide you more on the AI perspective. So get ready, flyers will be out soon on that particular part. And with this, once again, thank you so much, everybody, and thanks Atindra for coming and sharing your knowledge with us. Thanks.
thank you so much, everyone.